questions and comments?
I have a question.
Sure.
So obviously if you're trying to like substantiate, like if there are key constructs and you're trying to like substantiate like how you fulfill those by your experiences, what if, like as far as like the forms of experiences you had, so I know like obviously Colby puts a lot of emphasis on things like internships, but what if you haven't really had a lot of like experience with internships like over the summer, but you have like gotten a lot of key experience from maybe like your study abroad and like your extracurricular activities? Like how do you kind of make those seem strong when often things like summer internships are highly valued? Or I don't like, I feel like a lot of times like internships or like longer programs are like much more valued by like committees than just like extracurricular activities. But so what if you don't have that like core like internship experience, but you've gotten all of those qualities from other things? Is there a way to like make that seem stronger?
I think like one of the things I always look for is like study abroad experience. So one of the first things I'll ask is like, what were the most important things about your study abroad experience? You know, where did you go? What did you learn? What was, especially of your art history, like what museums did you go to? Like what periods did you study? What really struck you? What really moved you? So those are kind of things I think that I would cover with you. So like I really value study abroad experiences.
So you're not like shooting yourself in the foot if you haven't done a lot
Well,
of internships?
I mean, you know, and then there's also levels of scholarships.
Right.
Like, you know, the level needed for the Marshall or the Rhodes is often extremely unique experiences. You know, like, or even the Truman with there's kind of like this feeling among fellowship advisors, like the student has to start their own NGO.
Right.
But, you know, but for Fulbright, there are 1,800 of these. And they expect students to just be students and to have had kind of normal college experiences. So it's how you portray them.
Okay.
So, yeah, so maybe you won't necessarily apply for Marshall, but I really think you should apply for Fulbright. And maybe, you know, and Watson doesn't have this huge stipulation either. It's like Watson, they're more interested in your character. And so it's how so the argument for Watson, at least in the personal statement, is your individuality and your character. Each of these is such a different essay, and they're also idiosyncratic. That's why I think it's so important to come in early for advising, because, you know, honestly, you know, I've been trying to learn this for the last 9 years, and it's hard to learn. You learn by trial and error. You learn by success a lot, and you learn also by failure. So you learn by students. And I still have I'm often perplexed. Like even this year, we had some students I felt had the best Fulbright applications possible who didn't get to be finalists. Like I still have questions. I still wonder. I don't absolutely know, but we have a good sense. Aaron.
You mentioned kind of putting the most vibrant experience up front. I guess this probably varies depending on the length of the essay, but generally how many experiences would you focus on one really important, or would you try to, I guess, get a little bit of multiple, or what is generally?
Yeah, so like the Marshall, for instance, 1,000 words, there's probably a chance for 3 vignettes. So that very first one has to really capture the reader's attention. So it should be one of your most important experiences. Even, you know, often I look for ones that will really captivate the reader. They don't have to always be dramatic, but often they are dramatic. They should also show your involvement in your learning. Like something that's especially insightful is often important. The Fulbright just being one page, there often is just room for like one up front, and then they're kind of like, you know, you'll see their characterizations of other experiences. So maybe you don't go into a whole like mini short story. The Marshall, you might have 3 of them.
And if you apply and you don't get one, is there a way to, I guess when you're applying for jobs at grad school, can you talk about the fact that you still applied and I guess kind of that process? Is that?
Often I think if you're a finalist, that would be something that's very legitimate, or in some cases a semi-finalist, like a critical language scholarship. That is fine to list on your resume. If it's Colgate, every student who completes a successful Fulbright essay at Colgate, in a way gets endorsed, so I don't know if I would list that. But bigger than that, I would say this writing does translate, especially into graduate school writing. Like if you can write on this level, you can knock grad school essays out of the park. And economics, they're hard to write, especially for doctoral programs. They're hard to write. And it's a similar form. I've worked on helped students over the years with the graduate and a few this year, and it's similarly hard writing. This kind of skill, regardless of whether you get something, is something that will help you for life. But the 2 things I think you can get from the scholarship process are writing. The other thing is interviewing. So not all scholarships require interviews, but interviewing, what a difficult art that is. So if you have an interview that's even at the Colgate level, it'll be like an experience you've never had before.